Welcome to another broadcast of the Debra Rufini Show on the ArtistFirst Radio Network. All past shows are archived. You can find them at ArtistFirst.com. And now, from England, here she is, your host, Debra Rufini.
Greetings from England. This is Debra Rufini with another edition of the Debra Rufini Show. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with the amazing Matthew Ward, singer, songwriter and formerly with the second chapter of Acts. I'm actually quite starstruck because I'm a big fan of Matthew's and have been for many years. And looking forward to speaking with you, Matthew. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I look forward to it.
Oh, thank you. How are you doing today? Morning.
Doing well. Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. That's good. Yeah, it's the time difference. It's morning for you and it's evening for me.
That's right.
It's amazing. Matthew, I'd like to share with you, if that's okay. I'm going to embarrass myself here, how I first heard of you, and with the audience as well. It was 1981, and so I was, could do my maths, 10 years old. And my family belonged to it was like a caravan club called the BCF, the Baptist Caravan Fellowship. And this was held at Keswick, I think, the Keswick Convention, which is North Country. And it was very exciting as a child because you had like you had this big tent that you all arrive in the evening. And during the day you had these stalls filling up the roads leading up to the tent. It was like a Christian marketplace. And you had one with like records, back in the day, records, bookstore, book tent, and like a children's one with colouring books and stationery and stuff. And there was this massive poster that just said "Rejoice" along the top.
Yeah. With
these three happy faces. But I never saw the word second chapter of Acts. There may have been something covering that. But if I remember rightly, it was just your names under each person. Do you remember this poster? It must have been a promotion poster for the...
I remember the cover, yeah. I don't know about the promotional poster, could have been slightly different, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the cover didn't have our names on it. It was just us three, and it said "Rejoice," second chapter of Acts, whatever.
That's right, yeah. Which I have on my wall. I have the framed album on my wall. I'm looking at you right now. I'm looking at those three happy faces. But I remember thinking, and I was quite bullied at school, and I remember thinking, these people have got something. There was just something quite mesmerising as a little girl about this picture. And I remember thinking... I'm going to sound really sad now. I'm thinking, I wish they were my friends.
Yeah.
And so this would have been, it was 81, wasn't it, the Rejoice album?
Yeah.
And then...
right around then.
Yeah. And then it was 1985, I got into Donna Summer. And I bought a very cheap cassette of She Works Hard for the Money.
Right.
And loved Tokyo. To this day, I couldn't tell you what the song was about because I just loved the tune and this backing vocal.
You know what? I can't tell you what the song's about either, and I worked on it.
Great.
It's one of those songs. Funny. Yeah, I did all the backgrounds on that.
Oh, did you? The whole album?
No, just on that song.
Oh, Tokyo.
I did all the harmony parts and everything. I did all of them on that one.
Oh my goodness! Well, it was amazing.
Yeah. I had a blast working on that.
Oh, I bet.
And then I worked on the title cut, of course. She Works Hard for Money with her sisters, who did backgrounds. Okay. And then I did the duet with her.
Oh, Love Has a Mind of Its Own?
Right, yeah. And that was just a blast. We had such a good time. So.
Oh, wonderful.
Then we went shopping for shoes.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, great.
Got in her Range Rover, and away we went.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. Good times.
Great. Well, I remember thinking, I need to find out who this vocalist is because it just blew me away, and it was just so soothing. And back in those days, you had no internet, so you couldn't just Google anything.
Right.
So I think I wrote to her. I think she was with Mercury Records for a few albums.
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right.
And I said,
And the other thing that's weird about that, especially the duet,
yeah,
it started to get some airplay in the U.S. You know? And when the DJs and some of the radio producers and stuff found out that I was a white guy singing with her, they pulled it.
No.
Yeah. You know, you got to realize that was what,
83?
82, 83, somewhere in there. And I guess we just hadn't come quite far enough with the racial thing. But, yeah, they found out that, we can't have that, So they pulled it.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and I was going to be on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and her and I were going to do the song, and she came down with strep throat, and I flew out to L.A. from Texas, where I was living, and to go on the show with her that night, and she came down and with this illness, and we had to cancel, so it was my one shot at being on the Johnny Carson show, which would have been really fun.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
how annoying. Oh, that's not
that's
good.
how things work out.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's very sad.
Yeah.
But I remember, I think I got a reply to this letter saying, it's a chap called Matthew Ward, called Matthew Ward, who's with a group called the Second Chapter of Acts Christian Group. And I went into my local Christian bookshop and looked along the S, and there was that man on the Rejoice picture. It was your potato. It's him.
That guy.
He was in. So that confirmed.
That's funny. Oh, I know. I can't tell you how many times over the years people would hear me sing live, and they go, "Oh, you're that guy." It's like, oh, great. It's hard to sell albums if they know your voice, but they don't know who you are.
Oh,
right?
oh, yes.
So, I've got a very recognizable voice, whoever that was. Yeah, I've been dealing with that for 45 years. It's pretty funny.
You do have
I know that voice. I would know that voice anywhere. Whatever his name is.
Oh, don't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
It's all good. Got no control over that.
Oh, my goodness. That must be very frustrating. I'm laughing at that, but that's actually really sad.
I'm laughing about it too, especially now. But, yeah, it had its moments. It was very frustrating, at the time.
Oh.
It's kind of like, how to be the best kept secret. It's like, yeah, it's rough. But you carry on.
Oh, so, yeah, I bet. I think, do you have Galaxy chocolate in your neck of the woods?
Galaxy?
Yeah.
Is that a British chocolate?
Oh, I was just wondering, maybe it is then, because it's a very, very sort of smooth chocolate, and I think if Galaxy chocolate could sing, it would sound like you.
Oh my! So now I've got a singing chocolate voice.
Yes.
You know what? Here's the thing. I don't. Galaxy sounds familiar, but maybe only because I've been there and gotten it.
Maybe.
I've had tons of roast, of course, from Holland, and all these other types of chocolate. I love chocolate, but I like really dark chocolate.
Oh, dark chocolate's good.
Oh, at least 80%.
Oh, that high, really?
Oh yeah, at least. I brought back from Russia one time a bar that was 99%.
Oh, I bet it was bitter.
Well, you would think so, and you'd think it'd be very chalky, but actually it was quite good. I was surprised. I thought, this is going to be like, baking chocolate or something, but but it was actually really quite good. I was like surprised.
Oh, that's lovely.
So now we're talking about chocolate. God is good.
Isn't this nice? We're bonding. I like this.
Yes.
Bonding with your hero.
Nice
That's
cup
good.
of tea and a little thing of chocolate, and off we go.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's good stuff. So yeah, talk to me. What was life like growing up with two sisters? Was it fun?
Oh, well.
Did you? I bet you were a tease.
Fun. Let's see. Would I categorize it as fun? Well, you do know, just to back up a little, that I'm the youngest of 9 children.
Yes, of course. Sorry. Yes, I have read your book. I really have. But yes, I was. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's all good. So people say, "How are your 2 sisters?" I'm going, "Which 2?" Because I can be a bit of a smart aleck that way. The ones you sang with. Oh, okay. Well, that narrows it down.
Oh, those 2.
Yeah. So it was fun. The circumstances of the group forming were not the greatest things in the world, but we knew that we felt like what we were doing is what the Lord had us do for that time. And so we kind of pulled up our bootstraps and and plugged away with music. We didn't know what we were doing, had no idea, no clue. And, you know, people now, you know, with the luxury of history, can say, oh, you guys were pioneers, like you guys started this, no one else was really doing this kind of thing. Well, that's true, but, you know, you don't know you're a pioneer until somebody tells you you are, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Or until history bears that out. You know, there's no way you can know that. You're just doing what you feel like you're supposed to do, and the cards fall where they may, and away you go. But, you know,
That's true.
Was it fun? Okay. Yes, there were times that it was incredibly joyful and quite a lot of laughs.
Oh.
And then there were other times I wanted to just, you know, especially my sister, well, I'm the youngest, so they're all older. But the one just above me, Nellie, there were times I wanted to just punch her lights out. But I couldn't do it because I was a boy. So I would, we'd have fights. But
really?
Not too bad. Just a little bit in the early days, and we decided, well, this is not worth it to fight like this. It's really stupid. So let's just get along. That's a lot better. But we did well. We got along pretty splendidly over the years, and especially with having a live band, that made it fun. You know, with the camaraderie with the guys and hopping on the bus and traveling. You know, that people say, you know, well, you didn't really have much of a childhood, and I'm like, well, that's your what's your definition of having a good childhood?
Yeah. Being
bored and hanging out with people you don't really want to be around?
Yeah.
Or having fun and going and doing stuff, you know? I mean, I had the childhood I had, so I have nothing to compare it to. I can't go, well, yours was better than mine or mine was better than yours. I can tell you the childhood I had, and there were some things I think that were a bit, you know, in a deficit as far as kind of learning how to be socialized in a proper manner. But other than that, you know, I think I did pretty well, and I really enjoyed it. We had a great time on the road.
Oh, I bet.
Great time, you know, I had a great time with the guys in the band. We were fortunate enough to not just have a super huge, big revolving door of musicians. I mean, the guys that we got hung around for a while, and we got most of them, almost all of them, from the church that we were going to at the time, which was kind of amazing. If you think about the amount of talent that was in our bands over the years, and they basically all came from one church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was kind of neat to look back on that. Go, God is good, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we had our trials on the road, of course, and we had our knockdown, drag-out fights, and our wonderful prayer times, and you know, everything in between. So.
Oh, wonderful! It sounds like an ideal childhood. That sounds, yeah.
It wasn't bad. You know, I'm sure people would argue certain points about it, and I don't have a great comeback necessarily for some of their points, but at the same time, you know, hey, I've got 3 children and 6 grandchildren, so something must have worked out.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so... Christmas is expensive.
I finally have a granddaughter. She's 3 months old as of, like, yesterday or something.
Oh.
She is just the cutest thing in the world. My oldest daughter has 5 boys.
Wow.
And then my middle daughter had a baby girl, and her name is Sailor.
That's nice.
Sailor Rain, cool name. But she is just an absolute doll.
Oh.
She's got me wrapped around her pinky.
Is she? Yeah,
absolutely. Oh yeah, no, it's over. Yeah.
Oh, star
already
granddaddy.
got clothes for the next 3 years. Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, they're very cute.
There it is.
They're like little bean bags, aren't they? Those at that age. They're very sweet.
They're very sweet, and she smiles and she'll kind of giggle a little bit, and she fusses a lot over nothing. I'm like, why are you fussing? You know, it's like, you're good. You just got fed. You're perfect. Stop. But she's great.
It's because she's female. We all, whatever age, we all fuss if we're female. It's a trait.
Say, wait a minute. I don't. That's a female trait.
It is.
I fuss. Yeah.
It certainly is a female trait. Oh, so yeah. So a sad part. Your parents tragically passed when you were quite young. Is that right?
Yeah. You know, my mom. From the time I could remember, my mom was not well. She had different issues. And I was like, that's weird. I didn't know what to make of it, you know, when I was a little tiny kid.
Yeah.
She passed away when I was 10 years old. She was misdiagnosed. They thought she had epilepsy, but what it was a brain tumor.
Oh, dear.
And it was cancerous, come to find out. I had thought for years that it was not, but my siblings have told me that it was indeed cancerous. I didn't know that. I thought it was benign, but apparently that wasn't the case. Anyway, you know, back in 1968, they didn't exactly have MRIs and CAT scans. So,
oh, yeah.
you know, so they missed out on the tumor. And when it got to be the size of your fist in your head, they thought, you know, maybe we should take an X-ray of her head. Well, look at that! You know?
Oh.
So, yeah, so she died post-op. Yeah, so that was kind of a drag. And then my dad, he died 2 years later when I was 12.
My goodness.
He contracted leukemia. They think that he got it from, he used to paint exterior, interior houses back in the day when they had lead in the paint.
Oh.
And he didn't use any kind of aspirator or anything, any kind of breathing thing. And I think the doctor said that it was an environmental issue with his leukemia. So I got to watch him die as well. That was loads of fun.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
It makes you look at things a little differently in life, and
yeah,
you know, question things from a different point of view, and ask different types of questions, and process things differently. And
sure.
you know, as a young kid, I think I had my defenses up in ways that children should never have their defenses up.
Yeah.
Humor became a big thing to me because it was a defense mechanism. And,
that's understandable.
That's how I kept people at arm's length, you know. This close and no closer, you know, I don't want to get hurt again. I'm done getting hurt, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. No,
so that was my modus operandi with relationships, you know. Keep them at arm's length and hopefully they won't notice.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. It makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Unfortunately.
Yeah. How did you feel, so you were raised as, it was a Christian family, you had Christian parents, I think, yeah?
Yes, I was, Dad could have seen or left it. We were Roman Catholic growing up.
All right.
That's 9 children and our mom and dad, hence 9 children. Anyway, so yes, we were good Catholics, and we went to church on Sunday and high mass and every other holiday.
Oh.
But not any more than that. You know, so we were good Catholics.
Yeah, you're very good.
So I did that for a lot of years, and then after my parents passed away, and I was living in Sacramento at the time, California, capital of California, and moved from there. After my father died, there were still 4 of us living at home. And so my two older brothers went to live with my oldest brother, not the oldest sibling. I have a sister that's the oldest, but oldest boy, and her husband, and they stayed. 2 of my brothers stayed with them in Sacramento, where we were living. And then Nellie and I moved to Los Angeles to be with my sister Annie and my brother-in-law Buck.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's kind of how the group all got started. I don't even remember what the question was now, but I took off and went down a rabbit hole.
No, that's fine.
Hopefully it was a good one.
I'm just interested.
My dog is getting ready to bark at neighbors. It's okay, Sadie. I know, it's just a dog. My dog's Sadie, and she is looking at people walking the road. She owns the world. You know? She's a sweetheart. You'd love her. She's a great dog.
Oh,
10 years old. Lab.
Oh, wow.
Black lab. She's beautiful.
Oh,
okay.
Dogs are
so
wonderful.
Where were we? I'm sorry.
No. I'm quite happy with that. I'm just happy to hear you talk because it's interesting and it's fascinating, and I just, you know, it's good to hear more about you. Did you where did you feel God was at the time? You know, all this like one tragedy after another, and did it make you reach out more? Or did you think, oh, for goodness sake, I don't know if I can stick with this belief?
No, that's in reference to what though?
Oh, sorry. The passing of your parents.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, I think because I was so young and you know, death was a new thing. I'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
I realized pretty quickly it was permanent. You know, they're not coming back, kind of thing. Pardon me, but I don't know. You know, I had my thoughts about it, but I kind of kept to myself.
Yeah. That's what you
because I didn't know how to process it.
No.
I didn't understand what I was looking at. And so I just kind of observed and kept quiet and went, oh, okay. And, you know, I made opinions about things over the months, but nothing I can concretely recall and go, oh, this is when I thought this. And
Yeah.
But I definitely formed opinions, and I think became, like I was saying a minute ago, a little bit more distant in my allowing people to get close to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. How did you come about with the name Second Chapter of Acts? Was that Annie's idea, or was it a group decision?
Well, it wasn't Annie's idea per se. My brother-in-law, Buck, who's married to Annie, he produced the albums and drove the bus, and he was our audio engineer and our producer. He kind of, he was the dad of the group, for sure.
Oh.
He was working at the time as an independent audio engineer in Los Angeles. And I don't remember who he was working with, people you would know, but he came home one day from the studio, and we were trying to think of a name for the group. We were coming up with all these stupid names. That's catchy, and that's cool. And Buck came home, well, he was at the studio, and he had a white editing pencil, just like they call them grease pencils.
Right.
And they're for marking audio tape for when you edit.
Okay.
You can edit and make the marks. And he heard the words, the Second Chapter of Acts, and he went, what? And we were all new Christians. We didn't know what that book even said.
Right.
I had no idea what that chapter was about. No clue. So Buck just wrote down on a tape the Second Chapter of Acts, forgot about it, and then when he was getting ready to leave that evening, he saw that on the machine, and he felt like that was supposed to be the name of the group. And so I feel like the Lord gave me the name for our group, the Second Chapter of Acts, and we're like, oh, Barth, that's a terrible name. Way too long. It sounds like a play. Crying out loud, It's just terrible. People are going to mess that up over the years. And so he goes, well, why don't we just get our Bibles and we'll go to separate rooms and we'll just read the Second Chapter of Acts and we'll come back and talk about it. Like I said, we're all Christians. We didn't have a clue what it was about. But we came back together, read it, came back together, and it was like, wow, we kind of decided that if the Lord wanted to call us that we would go for it. We still thought it was kind of an unusual sounding name, but we loved what the second chapter said, what it was about, and we kind of decided that if you were stuck on a desert island and all you had was that one chapter, you'd have a pretty good idea what the gospel's about.
Yeah.
And so we thought, great. So that was the end of that. We called it.
Wow.
And it seemed to work out.
It certainly caught on.
What's that?
It certainly caught on.
Yes, it did catch on, didn't it? Not nothing.
Didn't it?
Yes, didn't it?
Oh, your music has, second chapter of music and your own solo career, it's helped me immensely with my personal struggles with faith, because I'm
sorry, it was what?
Oh, sorry, it's your music, Matthew, and the music of second
right.
chapter of Acts has helped me immensely with my struggles with my own faith, because I guess you'd call me a mustard seed Christian.
Okay.
So I was raised in a loving Christian home, and couldn't have had the arms of Jesus wrapped around me any tighter. But
right.
I've never, don't know how to say it. I've never felt anything. I have the head knowledge, and
right.
I've gone through the whole repentance prayer and asking the Lord into my life. But I've never felt anything in my heart. But it's the nearest I've had to feeling anything is through your music. And at times when I don't go to church at the moment, but the times when I haven't been able to go, because there's always been someone that's kind of been telling me, God's got a message for you, but he's not on speaking terms with you, so he's told me to do.
Oh, okay.
But when I've wanted to keep the faith and try and grow stronger, there's been so many songs that have actually, put the CD on, and it's just made me. In fact, yesterday I was playing your Christmas album a bit prematurely.
Oh, I think that's a great CD. I really like how that turned out.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. But my personal favourite song is Now That I Belong to You.
Oh, okay.
I love that, and I find it incredibly triumphant towards the end. take this life.
Yeah.
It's sort of like chanting over and over, and it's very joyous, and and I do think sometimes songs can bring you closer to God, even if you're not in the church, or if there's some reasons it's just not healthy to be in the church, like it wouldn't be for me to go back at the moment. And also, this has helped me so many times. Nobody can take my life away from me because I gave my life to you. That is very powerful.
Yeah.
That comes in handy when it's always important to not look at Christians as mini gods, but God's representatives. But we're all going to fail him. But sometimes we can depend on other Christians to, or look at them as if they're God, and then we think, well, where is he? Because they upset me, or But that is very powerful.
There's the puppy. Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Quiet, Sadie. He's going to go bark at my neighbor walking the dog.
Is there someone walking by? I know they do that. They think everyone's a burglar.
Yeah, I know. It's great, though. She's the best alarm system in the world.
Would she be a good guard dog? Would she protect you and your family?
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, good old
Yeah,
Sadie.
if she could see that someone was trying to do us harm, I think she would literally be all over 'em. Because she'll come close to getting at people when they come to the door, and I tell her it's okay, blah, blah, blah. But, man, she just sounds like she would tear you up,
Does she?
Anyway, so that's good. Hopefully she'll stop barking now.
Oh, that's okay. We're doing a bit of barking. That's absolutely fine.
You started this little section here with the idea of your faith and how you would have people come to you and say, I feel like the Lord's telling you this, or and it's almost like, well, what can't I hear?
I know.
I've always had a really hard time. I get that sometimes God tries to get our attention through people, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it's been my experience when it's really the Lord, and it's and it's powerful and it's real, is when someone comes to me and says, I feel like the Lord, blah blah blah, whatever it is, and it's a confirmation of what you're feeling in your heart already. Well, it's not like this, I would have never thought of that. It's not something out of the blue, because I feel like the Lord drops things into our hearts, and then he brings people alongside us that confirm those things that we feel.
Oh, right.
To me, that's how it works, for me. Because I have a real difficult time, because I feel like I have a relationship with the Lord where I can say something to him and stop and listen for a response, and if I don't hear one, I don't have my panties in a wad, it doesn't freak me out. But, I would love to obviously get an instant response, but that doesn't always happen. And so I always find it difficult when people say, I have a word from the Lord for you, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm not disrespectful. I'll listen to what they have to say, but boy, I sure weigh that stuff a lot harder than just people that I know that are confirming words that I have in my heart.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because of my relationship with the Lord. If I didn't have a relationship and God was trying to get my attention, then I would understand somebody hit me over the head with a shovel,
Yeah.
I guess is where I'm coming from. I'm sorry. There's my soapbox. I'm done.
No, I like that. That's a good way of looking at it. I think that's very valid. I remember one minister at church I went to, and he kind of picked people out and got them to stand at the front, and I'm very much a background person, so I'm not very good at getting at the front. And he said, right, the Lord has told me that you've got to someone that was next to me, you've got a word to spread, you've got gifts in the ministry, and then he came to me and he said, you've got the gift of song. And I just laughed because put it this way, if I open my mouth, I won't have the sound that you make when you open your mouth.
Yeah, we have a saying, you probably do too, it probably came from England, for all I know, is that you couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. Yeah.
That does sum it up. Yeah. That's very good. I like that.
Yeah. So that's not your gifting. Amen. And mine is not administration and paperwork. So Yeah, I know where my weaknesses are, and I just gather people around me that can do things better than I can. So, and that's what really smart CEOs do.
All right.
You know, they could be ADHD, you know, and run a billion-dollar company, and they hire the people that they can do all the things that they're just not good at. They're not going to try to get better at them because it's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's what.
Funny to watch that.
That makes sense, doesn't it? But
yeah, it really does.
But that just kind of made me think, right, I mustn't trust everyone from now on that says the Lord has given me a word for you, because I thought, no, you just made that up, or you know, you've been mistaken along the way.
You should. You know what? You should. Yeah, I'm not saying don't trust people. I mean, that wouldn't be good. But I think the Lord does ask us to weigh those things out and to judge those things. We should never take anything from. I would never take anything from somebody. And there's very few exceptions. There's a few people in my life that if they said, God is telling me to tell you this, I'd be like, yes, I'd be all ears, right?
Yeah.
If they don't do that, and when they do it, it's dead on, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, but just people that I know, like fans and people that I meet on the road, and, you know, they have this inclination, they want to speak into your life, and boy, man, I've learned to put on the filter glasses, you know, with those, and just, you've got it. You can't just accept it and wear it. You've got to listen to it, lay it out, look at it. Does this make any sense? You know?
Yeah. And
if it doesn't, you just chuck it.
Yes.
Like, you know, if it is the Lord, then He can get my attention again some other way. But I don't think this is, and so bye-bye. You know?
Yeah. This
doesn't line up with what I know about who you are.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, it's important not to blindly believe just because someone's told us. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. That's that's how you get into heresy.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true. Another song that I love is called Love, your song, Love.
Oh, yeah.
Has the power to make...
You know what people always call that song?
What do they call it?
They always call that song the song about your mom praying for you. That's what they think it's called. The song about your mom praying for you. I'm like, no, it's called Love. How much simpler. I thought I'd name it something really simple, so if it ever did catch on, people would be like, oh, that one. But that didn't work. Oh, that's funny. The song about your mom. Okay, I know which one you're talking about.
Oh, have I? But that's a powerful line.
And it's funny, you know, over the years, it's funny how people get, like my first album, you know, it's called Toward Eternity.
Oh, love it.
But everybody thinks it's called, not everybody, but even yesterday on Facebook, somebody private messaged me and said, I loved your first album, Angels Unaware. Because it has angels on the cover, but everybody thought it was called Angels Unaware, and I'm like, that's not a bad title, but that's not what it was called.
That's not what it's called.
Yeah.
No.
So it's all those funny things over the years that you correct people. You know, I love that Keith Green song, Easter song, and I go, well, actually, my sister wrote that. And, what? You know, it's like, golly.
Yeah.
You know, it just never ends. So it's fun.
I didn't even know Keith Green had covered. Yeah, because I've seen your concert footage where you're saying that Keith Green didn't write the song. I didn't even know he'd done a cover version.
He did a version, added a verse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Is that allowed? Is that allowed?
Did you see I posted a thing a few years ago on YouTube. It's a redo of Easter song.
Yes, I love that. Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I didn't know if you saw that. I had fun putting that together. That was a blast.
Where was that filmed? The scenery is amazing.
That's about 20 minutes from my house.
Is it really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
It's called Garden of the Gods.
Oh.
Just outside of Colorado Springs. Or actually, it's in Colorado Springs, technically. But it's beautiful. It's a park that's been set aside. It's free. That was part of the thing when the guy gave the land to the city, said this park shall always remain free, blah, blah, blah. And it's just gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, I shot a lot. Not all of it was shot there, but about 80% of it. So.
Wow. Yeah. Where you live obviously looks very different to where I live.
I would imagine.
It doesn't.
I bet you're a lot closer to sea level than I am.
Yes. Yeah, everything is just water, really. It's a bit unfortunate because I can't even swim, but we are surrounded by water here.
Yeah.
But no, it is very beautiful. And it's, yeah,
I love this. I love this place. I'm sitting. I mean, I'm looking out at the front range of the Rockies, Colorado Rockies, and I'm looking at Pikes Peak, which is they call America's Mountain. It's right there. I'm looking at it. 14,110 feet. I don't know what that is in meters, but it's a bunch.
Yeah, that's a lot. That is high. Yeah.
It's a lot. It's up there. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
So, my house sits at 7,260 feet, whatever that is in meters. It's well over a mile and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh,
so,
lovely.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm telling you about my elevation of my kitchen, but I am, because we're having a conversation.
That's brilliant. I'm just more and more. It's fun, isn't it? Because you could be. There's any. I mean, I've been where I live for 20 years, and I've been raised in this city, so this is all I know. I don't get out much. But I was thinking the other day, it was knowing that I was going to speak to you, thinking, isn't it funny how we're all on this big planet, but we've got just our different places that you could feel really different if you were just in a different place.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's quite, I wouldn't say I live in a, I don't want to sound snobby, Matthew, but it's not the poshest of areas, put it that way. And but even just a few miles away, there's beautiful countryside, and it's like a different world. And people say hi, they're strangers, hello. You know, if you look someone the wrong way here, you'd get a punch in the face. You know, it's.
oh yeah, no, I deal with that now. I mean,
that's
where I used to live in northeast Texas, it was called the Piney Woods area of Texas, and there were a lot of things I didn't like about it, but the people were awesome, and my neighbors were all, hey, neighbor, you know, they had that southern accent, they talk like that right there, and
great.
But they were just the sweetest people I've ever been around. I mean, I was raised in California, Los Angeles, Sacramento, and then moved to East Texas.
Yeah.
In 1980, and it was such a wow. It was like being in a different country, you know. And but people were so nice. Then I moved up here, which is, you know, I live just north of Colorado Springs, and this is the home of the Air Force Academy. I mean, it's a very famous military area. And when I moved here in '98, I don't know if it's still true, but there were like more PhDs per capita than any other city in the world.
Oh. Wow.
So this is not a low-income area, but
brilliant.
Where I live is great. So houses aren't right next to each other. You know, the lots are decent size. So and I just love it. I mean, it's just wonderful. You know, 20 minutes from Colorado Springs, I can just drive down there and do whatever I want to do and get back. They call those bedroom communities, right? So they're just areas just outside of the main cities, and that's kind of what this is like in Monument, where I am right now. Yeah. Even though it's grown like exponentially, just crazy in the last 10 years. So much growth. So.
Wow.
But anyway, okay, that's enough.
No, I'm just lost now because I'm just sort of there in my head, and I don't want to move on.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful. It really is.
And Sadie likes it. She's happy there, obviously.
Sadie loves it. I keep letting her in and out of the deck so she won't bark. Now she wants to come back in, and I just let her out. Silly girl.
She's thinking, who's Daddy speaking to? It's fun, isn't it? When I had my dog, I used to think, when I'm on the phone, does she think I'm just speaking to a lump of plastic? I wonder what they think. Do you think they think there's someone on the end?
Well, you know what I think?
What's that?
I talk to myself a lot, but I just think, man, he's on a bench. He is really talking to himself. I used to tell people all the time, you know, I said, hey, do you know why I talk to myself? They're like, no. And I said, because I'm the only one that'll listen.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, no, that's terrible.
I'm sure that's not true.
Yeah.
A very personal song for yourself, Matthew. Is again, I love it. Well, I love all of your stuff. Like I say, I'm a huge fan. To the King.
Oh, To the King, yeah.
Amazing words.
Well, do you want me to tell you about that song a little bit?
I was going to ask you. Yes, please do.
Okay. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. Anyway, I wrote that song. I went through cancer in 1994.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And did chemotherapy, whole 9 yards. Went through a real severe time of depression that lasted about 3 months after I finished chemo.
Yeah.
And in the middle of that depression, I went upstairs and I got on my computer back in, if you can imagine, 94, my first Apple, anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And I wrote a letter to God. I put it in poetic form. Never intended it to be any kind of a song. I felt like God lost my address, right? And during this time. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to write a letter to him, just kind of stating some of the things I believe to be true of him, even though I'm not sensing him.
Right.
And as a believer, that's a really interesting place to get to, because it'll nuts and bolts your faith, right? It'll get you right down to what's holding things together and what isn't.
Yeah.
And so I wrote this sort of poetic note to the Lord,
Yeah.
and I forgot about it completely. Came out of my time of depression sometime later and saw it in my, Word documents, whatever. And I opened it and I went, oh, yeah, oh, man, that's cool. So I said, my sister would love this. I got to show this to her, Annie, because she writes 3 songs every day, It's like ridiculous.
Wow.
So, not that I wanted this to be a song, but I just wanted her to see what I was thinking and how I put that together. I thought she would appreciate it. So I printed it out, I showed it to her, and she goes, and I even told her, I said, I have no intention of this being a song, but I just thought it was, and I explained to her what I was going through, and she remembered,
Yeah.
And she goes, well, let me have it and see if I get, I'll try to put some music to it. And I said, no, really, that's not the point. I just wanted you to see it. And she goes, okay, well, whatever. So she goes home, and she had this wonderful, at the time, a 9-foot Steinway. Oh. And she plugged out music to it. And the next day she calls me and says, hey, Matt, come on over. I want you to hear what I put to this thing you gave me. And I went, oh, brother, here we go. So I said, okay, great. And so I went, and she played it for me. And I remember looking at her when she got done. And I thought, wow, that's, good job. That's just beautiful. It's beautiful, and I have no intention of ever singing that. It was just it would be like singing publicly a very private letter.
Yeah.
Right. I had no intention of that, and she understood that. She goes, okay, whatever. I just wanted to play for you. Well, then that song, and then another song called God Almighty.
Oh yes, that's nice.
Because of that struggle I went through, and I re-recorded Psalm 61, that's got a whole other story behind it, which is amazing. So nice. all the songs on there were not just, I'm going to put a bunch of songs together and do an album. It was all because of that ordeal, that struggle, how I sensed God move, how I saw him as a father figure, maybe in some ways that were incorrect, and how I learned to see him as a father in some true ways. Learned a lot. There's some good theological things that happened in my heart during the process of all of that, and the writing and the putting together of that project that I hold true to today. It's been foundational for me. It's my favorite album that I've ever recorded. That my wife tells me that's her favorite.
Oh, wow.
Which I think is cool. I think I've done some good ones too, but that probably is my better one as far as, there's stories I could tell you about it, but record companies not wanting me to do it.
Oh, really?
I said, well, I feel like I'm supposed to, so bye-bye. Paid for it myself, put my house on the block. I mean, it was a step of faith, and God totally was all over it. You could see it. I'm like, oh, finally, I heard something. It's like,
wow,
yes,
yeah.
But it was one of those evergreen projects, right? That just, most music is flavor of the month, especially in the gospel field. It'll be popular for a month or two, and then it's like, oh yeah, I remember that song. But this album kept selling the same number of units, like just month after month after month, just forever. And we're like, oh, this is such a God thing. And anyway.
Yeah, no, I love that
so
album.
I'm still selling them out of my house. No, I got a website now. Anyway.
I love that album.
So yeah, so that was a trip, That's how To the King came about. Now you know.
Wow. No, that's
anyway,
awesome
I did record it, and God used it. There, I forgot to tell you that part.
It's brilliant. No, it is amazing. It's very powerful. I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to think of the same album. There's Knowing You. I think that's on the album. I'm just trying to think.
Yes, it is.
Without looking.
That is number 10 on that album.
Oh, is it? Ah.
Yep. Written by Graham Kendrick. A nice Brit.
Oh, it's a nice Brit. Wonder if
You
he
know
likes
that.
tea and scones. No, but that is a nice album. I do like. Well, I like all of your stuff, but there's.
No, but I was
Yeah,
saying, you know
I like
that Knowing You was written by Graham Kendrick, who's a British guy. Did you know that?
Do you know? I didn't know it was one of Kendrick's. Yeah, I've heard of Graham Kendrick. I didn't know it was
Huh,
one of
well,
his.
now you
But,
do.
he's not as good as you, though.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just biased.
No. That's where you start getting into that stuff. Well, who do you think's better? And I was like, well, I don't know.
My will always be number one.
My wife surprised me for our anniversary this year, pre-anniversary, and took me to Las Vegas,
Oh,
all the places that I would never want to go.
Oh,
And she took me.
nice.
I've always been a huge fan. I remember when I started singing.
Sorry, sir.
I first heard Stevie Wonder.
Oh, you've first heard Stevie Wonder.
Because people would always say, well, you sing like Stevie Wonder. And I said, well, I guess. I mean, I never heard him, but thank you. I mean, it was weird. I didn't want to just be all snooty and snobby and weird and disallow that. But, I mean, he did definitely have an influence on how I looked at music and stuff like that. But I was kind of already kind of doing it. So, yeah.
Wow. Oh, nice. No, I can't think of a voice that's You do have a unique voice. I think there's lots of voices that sound very similar, but I think, I mean, I personally prefer male voices to female voices anyway. But I think it's
Yeah.
you do have very outstanding. So
Yeah, I don't think we sound alike, but I think
No.
we're able to do similar gymnastics.
I'm just trying to think of. Sorry, as you speak, I'm just trying to think of his voice. Really? Do you? Well, I can't see a resemblance there. I'll have to play some of his stuff and have another listen.
Okay, listen to Hold On.
Right.
That's very R&B,
Ah, okay.
and that's on Toward Eternity. That's on our first solo album. A lot of horns. I mean, it's real. It's real
Oh,
R&B.
yes.
I'm singing all kinds of licks all over it, tearing it up.
That's yeah.
And some of my solo stuff is a little more that way, even though I did kind of headed more of a rock direction. But you can hear in my voice my ability to do, as they say, riffs or licks.
Mm.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's great stuff. Do you know my favourite album of all? Second chapter of Axe's album is The Raw of Love. I just think it's very I don't know what the word is. It's almost psychedelic, isn't it? It's,
That album is one of my very, 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 if not my very favorite
Is it?
second chapter album. Reasons, not just musically, it was a blast, and it was a concept album, which was great. You can't do those anymore,
Oh, right.
Anyway, everything's digital download. Well, that has destroyed the music industry. Anyway, but that album was, if let's put it this way, if you didn't have to flip it over, because records, you had to flip them over.
Yeah.
That piece of music would have never stopped. It would have just, because the whole first half doesn't stop and the second half doesn't stop.
Yeah, that's right.
And the only reason we stopped was so that people could flip the record over. It's like,
Oh, was it? Oh.
but yeah, it's crazy. And here's another little tidbit that most people don't know about that album. The very last cut, the very last thing you hear,
Yeah.
turn it up really loud,
I'm going to do that.
and
Yeah.
you'll hear a cuckoo clock.
Right.
Yeah. You'll hear cuckoo. It's the very last thing you'll hear on that record. And what that was one of the last vocals we recorded in a bedroom, and we forgot to turn the cuckoo clock off on this side of the wall. And so we were finishing da-da-da. You got to really turn it up. It's hilarious.
I'm going to listen
We
to
left
that
it
now.
on purpose.
That is brilliant. I'm going to.
But yeah, no, I love that album. And C.S. Lewis, great storyteller.
Yeah.
They came out with a movie some years ago, and then they tried to sue us.
Oh,
That
no.
was funny. We didn't put the album out for 3 years, trying to figure out who had the rights. And the C.S. Lewis Foundation would say, well, no, we're more like the literature, this part, that part. It would be this organization. We get hold of that organization. Well, no, we do this, that, and it would be the other organization. And they just kept throwing the tennis ball back over the net to each other. And no one ever gave us a definitive. So we waited a few years and just said, heck with it, and released it. And
Yeah.
And then it wasn't for zillions of years later that, they came after us. Once the movie started coming out, they didn't want us riding the coattails of all their, the money they were spending on getting the word out. So, which we didn't. We figured it out. It was amicable.
Goodness.
That was, I love that album. That was so much fun. Like I said, we did all the vocals in the bedroom. And we did the whole thing in the house except for the tracking of the musicians we did in the studio. But the mixing and all the vocals, all the overdubs, guitar solos, blah, 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 all that stuff was done. Synthesizers.
Wow.
Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of synth work on that album. A lot of harmony parts and, a lot of chords.
Yeah.
In the synthesizer, like chords, like you could just play now, like a piano. But back then, everything was monophonic, so you could only play one note at a time.
Oh, right. Of course, yeah.
So we had to do all these tracks to make chords. And Michael Mardian was the guy doing all the keyboards on that album.
Oh, was he?
We spent days just doing synthesizer parts. I mean, just days and days. It's like, oh, man.
Oh, my
And,
goodness.
and people don't realize, things are so different now. It's like everything's digital, and you can just,
Yeah.
space bar, punch in, do it again,
Yeah.
Or as the Dutch would say, prick me in right there, prick me in. But everything was analog, so everything had to fire up and get synced up, and then you'd hit the record button, and then hopefully you did it right that time, and you came in late, or you were flat, or whatever it was.
Oh,
but digital,
my
just do it again, do it again, do it again.
That sounds hard work.
It's so much faster.
Oh, my goodness.
Crazy. So, so that lets you into in other words, there was so much more work in the War of Love than anyone could ever, especially by today's standards of people doing music, that anyone would ever be able to understand. It was only 16 tracks.
Yeah.
And so we had channels that had 5 or 6 different things on them, and we'd make notes. 3 of us mixed it live. Each pass would have to be mixed perfect. You'd have to go back and mix the whole song again. It's so different than the Pro Tools digital world, where everything, you can fashion something and slightly make increments as you go. No, everything had to be done on the fly. And it was a whole different world. So everybody had their notes, their sheets, like, okay, at the second verse, turn up the Phil's guitar part, but then turn it back down because he has this thing that we don't want to be that loud. And then the tambourine comes up, and it could be all on the same track. And then you change the equalization, the reverb, all on that one track. People don't get it. It was a lot of work, but it was fun.
It was, the outcome is brilliant. But even playing that and things like the Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat musical, Godspell, Jesus Christ Superstar. I mean, I don't think they're all very good, but I don't think they're anything compared to the Roar of Love. Is just absolutely outstanding.
I'm not going to argue that. I mean, I think it's fantastic. I think. Let me tell you a story that a lot of people don't know. One day, Keith Green came to our house. We were living in Northridge, California, and we had finished the album. It had been done about 1.5 years, 2 years, but we hadn't released it yet.
Yeah.
So we had some test pressings of it. And Keith Green came to the door, and he had this guy by the name of Bob Dylan with him.
Really?
Yeah.
What became of him?
So Bob and Keith walk into the house, and my brother-in-law Buck says, Keith brought him over because he wanted Bob to hear the Roar of Love.
Yeah.
And so Bob sat down in the middle of our giant Tannoy speakers, which are made in England, and all our stuff, and Buck played Bob the whole album, and Bob just all he said was, he turned around and he goes, man, I've never heard anything like that. That's amazing.
I bet.
That's brilliant. That's awesome. Yeah, he thought that was great. Then he tried to tell us about his friend that was starting a record label, and we're like, no, we're okay where we are. It's good. It was this guy. His name was Geffen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he started a little thing. Yeah, his first album was a double platinum with John Lennon or whatever.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so we always missed it by that much.
Oh. But no, that is but no, I mean, you wouldn't want to swap that for anything. It's just brilliant.
No,
it's amazing.
So, but Bob thought loved it. So you'd get a kick out of that little story.
I'm going to be shouted down for saying that I think it's far better than anything that Dylan's done that I've heard. But I'm not a massive Bob Dylan fan, so enough.
Yeah, I liked his Slow Train Coming, and and whatever the
Oh,
other
yes.
one was that he did. He did like 2 Christian-y albums that I thought were very good. I thought, production was great, and the songwriting was really good, and made some great points, and, whatever. I don't know where he's at now spiritually, but those were interesting times for sure.
Oh, I bet. Oh, so what are you doing at the moment?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm going to leave tomorrow, actually, and go take care of my son, my brother-in-law, for a few days.
Oh,
anyway,
that's nice.
I've been doing music. This year's been a lot busier for me for live things than it has been the last couple. So I've been doing 2 or 3 concerts a month, which has been fun. I get out and travel, and what's really weird is they're never around here. I've always got to travel, 2 hours at least by flight to go to the next thing, or 4 hours, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, but hey, I'll take it. So it's been fun.
Great.
It's always been fun. I've done a few things. I did a thing in Nashville about 2 months ago. Had a live band. Knew some of the guys that were in the band. A friend of mine put it together for me, and that's a big long story. But we did a couple of concerts. Had a blast. I love doing stuff with live band. I just don't hardly ever get to do that because it's just cost prohibitive and time prohibitive. To get together and rehearse with people, and it's just hard. So
I bet.
Yeah.
You need
like
to
when I
come
go
to
to Europe,
England.
I'll put the stuff together, like do an unplugged thing or whatever, with some guys. But it's worth it.
Oh, wonderful. So if you won't come to England, then I have to come to your neck of the woods and hear you there, because that would be that's on my bucket list. I've seen Springsteen.
Well, then hurry up. If it's on your bucket list, you might croak,
Well, I've seen Springsteen, and I've seen Donna Summer, and so you're left to see. So I think if you're not going to come over here, I'm going to have to come over and see where you are.
I would love to get over there. Just somebody has to get me there. That's all.
I'll bake some scones for you, and
That'd be lovely.
We can have a cream tea. That would be nice.
Yes, I would absolutely love that.
Oh, Matthew, it's been wonderful speaking with you. It's been an absolute treat, and it's thank you so much for being such a blessing to so many, including myself, and for your talent over the years. And may the Lord continue to use you and bless you. And
yes, I appreciate that.
Oh,
and I pray that God would bless you too, Deb, and what you're doing, and be able to be a light, get the word out, and just be a blessing to everyone that's going to be hearing this and that will hear you in the future.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much. Wow.
You bet.
This day has been a dream come true. I only became a radio host so that I could hopefully get to speak to you. That's all this is about, Matthew.
Well, now you can quit.
Does this qualify us as friends now? Are we friends, do you think? Are we friends now?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's good. That's made my life.
No, I mean, for sure. My thing with, I don't know if you've ever tried to friend me on Facebook or whatever, or that kind of stuff, but I reached my limit so long ago that people get well, he can't do it. But if you private message me or something, I think you can do that. I can, or even if you ask, I think I can find you in the list and click on you, because some people drop off. And once they drop off, then you can add people, but it's weird how it works.
Oh, it is actually Facebook. I'll try my luck anyway. I'll see.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks again, Matthew. And to listeners, thank you for tuning in, and may the Lord bless you too. Until next time.
Oh, the listeners, you mean? Yes. Me and the listeners.
And you and the listeners. Oh, sorry. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I was forgetting you were there.
Yeah.
Okay, till next time. Lots of love.